Hey, what's up, everybody? Um, let's talk about expectations, okay? Um, expectations and comparing are two of the biggest reasons why we suffer. When we expect someone to behave in a certain way and they don't, and if we are comparing ourselves with others. These are this is the primary reasons why a lot of us struggle and feel down or have disputes and conflicts either within ourselves or with people around us. Um, but it's not that we shouldn't have expectations. So this is also a mistake that people who are very into, personal growth, spirituality, can make a mistake sometimes and think that you should have no expectations or you shouldn't compare at all. And that's also not correct. That's too extreme. Remember, balance is very important, and it's okay to have some expectations, but we don't want to have unrealistic expectations or compare ourselves unrealistically or make unrealistic comparisons. At the end of the day, it's going to be subjective. It's going to be, whether it's unrealistic, extreme, or not. It's going to be based uh, on everyone. Everyone's going to have their own gauge of what's too high of expectations or what's too low. And we'll talk about how you can figure this out, and find out if your expectations are unrealistic. Let's say if you're in a relationship and you're expecting certain behavior from your partner or from your friends or from your business or your company or your boss, how can you tell if your expectations are too unrealistic, uh, or if the comparisons you're making when you go online and you see people and they look in a certain way or they're living in a certain way, and then you compare that to your life. How do you know if your comparing is realistic or unrealistic? So I'll give you an example. The reason why I wanted to make a video on this topic is actually earlier today. So, I was talking to a friend, and they're going through difficulties. And so I picked up the phone, I gave them a call, and helped and guided them through. Remember, this is a friend. So when I work with people uh, through my sessions, through this channel, I see that more of a professional thing. So I'm doing that professionally. But when I'm with my friends or with my family, um, I try not to be a therapist or a counselor. I try to just be a friend, and it's a different dynamic. I'm not really being a professional counselor in that moment. I'm being more of a friend. It's different. Anyway, so after I hang up the phone and our conversation ends, I look down and I notice, oh wow, that was like a 45-minute uh, period of time. And obviously it was helpful to the person that I was talking to, and I could tell they felt a lot better, and they felt much more energized and focused, and you know, and a couple of hours passed, and a thought came into my head that, oh, I didn't even get a message, or you know, they didn't even say thanks, like, hey, thanks for listening, or thanks for this and that, just nothing at all. So the first thought came into my mind of, oh, that's not cool. And this is how thoughts work, right? So the thought comes in, and then the thought is like chain linked to it triggers a lot of other thoughts. And this is why awareness is so important, because if you if your awareness muscles are weaker, and everyone's got different strengths of their awareness muscles. It's like your biceps or your body, you can be in better shape or you can be totally out of shape, but there's different levels to awareness and how strong your awareness has become due to the practice that you're putting, whether it's through meditation or whatnot. So the thought came into my head that, oh, you know, this person didn't even like say thanks for listening. So I immediately identified that as an expectation, right? So that's an expectation that I had of them. And then the next thought that came into my head is, well, I shouldn't be having expectations. But then the awareness again shines its light on that thought. And remember, you know, for those of you who watch this channel, who have seen a lot of my videos, you'll know that I love this idea and principle of the question to always ask, which is, does this serve me, right? So I apply that to the thoughts that pop up, you know. So the first thought was, oh, that kind of sucks, you know, this person didn't even say thanks. So then awareness comes in and says, oh, hey, you may be having expectations, and then you shouldn't have expectations is the next thought. But then awareness comes in again and says, well, does that thought serve me? The fact that I shouldn't have expectations? And that's what's led to this video now, which is that, no, it's okay to have expectations. And perhaps in this instance, my expectation for them to say thank you isn't unrealistic. And it's fair and it's justified and it warrants me having a thought, because remember, thoughts are thoughts are triggered 9 times out of 10 by fear. And when I say fear, it's not like this boogie man or boogie woman. Fear isn't this bad, evil thing. No, fear is a friend. Fear is to be loved and to be welcomed. And because if we villainize fear, it doesn't help us. And I've made videos on that. So when the fear comes, it's important for us to understand that, hey, the fear is there to help us. It's there to protect us. It might be a bit of an out of date system that we have in our society today. So we use awareness to check it, to just make sure that, hey, is this fear justified? But remember, the fear comes in, triggers the thoughts. And why is that fear coming in this little example that I've brought up? Well, the fear comes in, I would say, to ask me, hey, well, was your time and energy worth it on this person? You know, is this person worth your continued time and attention? In other words, should I repeat this again in the future? Because there could be people that drain, and that's what they want. They want that attention, but then they go off, and they, you know, a healthy relationship is always 2 ways, right? It's not one person feeding and taking. It's reciprocal. You know, again, I've mentioned this in a lot of my videos of how to identify a good partner or someone who's good for you. You know, if you're dating, well, if you give or if you take a step towards that person, a healthy relationship is when that person reciprocates and takes a step towards you. And then you're both giving, you're both givers, you're both energizing. But how many relationships out there are one way, and it's one person, you know, taking and the other person giving and feeding and being drained? And for what reason is this dynamic? Because this person's hot? Because this person's got an incredible ass? Or because this person's rich? Or because this person is, you know, whatever? I'm not saying that those things are wrong or bad at all, but I personally value peace of mind. You know, there's one of my friends, a fighter in Bali, once told me something really clever, and he just said, peace of mind over piece of ass, right? just kind of funny, maybe a little bit vulgar, but it's true. Peace of mind is the greatest thing, um, as far as this person here. And for a lot of people out there. So so in that instance, the fear comes in and triggers thoughts in order to help this vehicle, to help me with my future decision making. Just in the same way as if a baby sees beautiful light of glimmering the fire, the flame, doesn't know, touches it, gets burned, fear will come in the next time the baby's about to touch the fire, and the fear triggers thoughts, and the thoughts will say, hey, don't touch the fire because this happened. You're going to get burned, and you'll get disease, and you could die. So fear at the end of the day is always there to protect us ultimately from death. Okay? That's the root, that's the ultimate thing that fear is trying to keep us away from death. Okay? So, in that instance, awareness is so important, because if awareness isn't there, then the mind can just go off and create all kinds of thoughts and all kinds of beliefs and all kinds of judgments, and then it can make you feel miserable. You can start to suffer. You can start to dwell, and one thought leads to another, and one belief leads to another belief, and then before you know it, you are sitting there thinking that, oh, everyone uses me, or oh, people suck out there, or people are selfish. So it's very easy to go down that rabbit's hole. Whereas if you shine the light of awareness, as Eckhart Tolle beautifully always says, when we put our and putting your awareness onto these situations isn't maybe the best way to describe it, because it's really, awareness will be there if you strengthen it, if you work on it, if you work on meditating every day for 3 minutes and training your awareness of your breathing. That's what meditation is. It's training you to be focused and aware. It's training you ultimately to be an observer of everything that's going on, your breath, the sounds, your thoughts, right? So that's awareness. Awareness is it's a separate thing to your thinking mind, because your awareness can observe your thinking mind and your beliefs. And as a lot of you know in my videos, my view on this is that awareness is like your body. It's everlasting. It's like it has endless layers. You can always strengthen it more, and then discover a new layer of awareness, and then that new layer of awareness will be able to observe a new layer of thoughts and beliefs that before you hadn't noticed, and you're like, oh my God, I never noticed these thought patterns or beliefs before. And that's the beauty of practicing our, strengthening our awareness through meditation, is we become more and more able to guide ourselves and not be, let's say, pulled around and controlled by our thoughts that can make us suffer and struggle. So the awareness will come in and say, well, hey, it's okay that you had this expectation of this person, because in this moment, this relationship isn't reciprocal. But it's also important to remember that, hey, well, maybe they got hit by a bolt of lightning, and that's why they haven't texted you, right? Or maybe they got a call and they're on a call, or maybe something's happened and they've got to go. So also not being too impulsive is important, and our thoughts and beliefs tend to be impulsive, and I'm guilty of this, and this is why I practice this. I write on my arm a lot. This is I'm sure you've noticed that in a lot of my videos. The one that I currently have is stay humble, which is, I'm going to make another video about that, which is important. But yeah, being aware, and let's go back to the topic of this video, which is expectations. Yeah, how do we find and set realistic expectations? Well, how do we know if our expectations are too high or too low? Maybe as some of us, we let people abuse us, and we let our boss get away with not paying us how much they should, or we'll let our partners or people treat us poorly when we shouldn't. So some people, their expectations are too low, and some people's expectations are too high, and they'll find that they're isolated and lonely, and don't interact well because everyone's disappointing them, or the world is constantly disappointing them. So the way, or one way I can share of figuring out where your expectations are, like, would be pain, right? Pain is our greatest teacher. So if you feel pain excessively, consistently, then that pain is basically teaching you, it's telling you that, hey, um, you need to take a look at something here. This person might be taking a lot and not giving in return, or you may not be getting paid what you should be at your work, or it could be a lot of different things. And so then a good question that might arise would be, well, what if you're too sensitive, and that's why you're in a lot of pain? Well, then how do you find out if your expectations are realistic or not? If you're too sensitive, well, again, it will come back to pain, because if if you just break it down and keep it very simple, and move into a direction away from pain, you know, some pain is good, but we're talking about like constant excessive pain that's like making us depressed, making us constantly anxious. And when I say move away from those things, it doesn't necessarily mean physically, like moving, changing your job, or moving away from certain people, or moving away from certain foods that might be causing pain, or certain activities. I don't sit on chairs anymore. It's been years now. I'll be making a video on that soon. Why I stopped sitting on chairs, but because of the pain you get. It's the chairs are not healthy for our body. I sit on the floor. I work on the floor. I even lay down a lot with my head up, because we're constantly doing this. So it's important to reverse those things. So just moving away from pain isn't just our environment, which we should do. That's a huge part of it, is change your environment. But it's also moving away from pain is moving away from the way that you think and believe, or slightly changing it, changing your perspective a little bit, or adjusting your expectations. So if you're too sensitive and you're in a lot of pain, well, that could be an indication that you've got to adjust your expectations. Maybe you're expecting too much, or maybe you're expecting too little. So let pain be your guide to help you find that balance, okay? Where you'll find more relief, less pain, and then, you move around and you try different things until you find, oh, this is a good harmony. This place right here, I feel like I am getting pain, because we are always going to get pain, in life. There's I don't believe there's ever going to be a place where you're going to be in a constant state of, it's even the Buddha or Jesus or Muhammad or any other spiritual enlightened, so-called enlightened soul, they're going to feel pain, if, let's say, the Dalai Lama or Buddha or even Eckhart Tolle was sitting here right in front of me, and I grab a big, I don't know why I like using this crazy example, but if I grab I just think it's funny, big fish, and I start smacking them in the face with it, they're going to feel pain, and they're going to go to one of two things. They're either going to do the first one, which is change their physical environment, get up and leave, or they're going to change their expectations internally and be like, pain strengthens me and feeds me and makes me stronger, and the smell of the fish on my face is a scent that enhances my life. So, obviously that's unrealistic, but I'm just using that as a silly example. So we talked a lot about expectations in this video, but comparisons, it works the same way for comparisons. So, I quit my social media now. It's going to be nearly 2 years, and I'm so glad that I did. It improved my life by at least 30%, because sadly, social media, and I recently just, maybe a month ago or 3 weeks ago, I just started an Instagram for this channel mostly. And by the way, if any of you are supporting me on Patreon, on my Patreon page, thank you. The Instagram I launched is for that. I've created a new option in there. If anybody would like to support and donate, there's an option on there where if you support and donate, I will send you my Instagram info, and you guys can follow me on Instagram, where I'm going to be posting more pictures of my farm and my lifestyle, and what I'm building around here, and just more about my life. But going back to the social media, so I recently started an Instagram, and what I noticed going on Instagram is that in the 2 years that I've been away from it, sadly things have not gotten really better. And what is Instagram? It's really just an environment for everybody to show off to each other, sadly, and make each other feel basically worse. Like, this is what you don't have. This is what I'm doing that you're not doing. Rather than Instagram being a source of, or social media being a source of, sharing and educating and inspiring and motivating, which it is, and I'm just following 2 people for now. I'm being very selective, and the people that I'm following, Paul Chek is one of them. Almost every one of his posts has something educational, inspiring. It's not just him showing off, how great his life is, right? Because when we're all showing off to each other, which is pretty much, it seems like what 80-90% of social media it has become, it's not making the world a better place. It's making everybody thirsty, all these Instagram influencers and Instagram models, they're just making everyone want and crave and desire and feel incomplete and feel lack, and it's okay to feel those things in little amounts, because that's what drives us to improve our life and to be better. But when it's excessive, as it is currently, it creates depression, it creates anxiety, it creates confusion, it can really stifle and bring us down, because we compare constantly. We'll go up and we'll see, oh, this person's doing this, so I should be doing this, and it's really not helping as much as it can, right? But it's not Instagram's fault. It's our society that's growing and learning, and I don't see that this trend is going to last long. Personally, I'm more optimistic, and I feel like the amount of pain that it's going to create is already causing a lot of people, and I meet and speak to a lot of young people who are quitting their social media. So it's happening. People are waking up, younger people, which is awesome to see, like 18-year-olds, 19-year-olds, 20-year-olds. So there are a lot of people waking up, and it's because of the pain. The pain eventually is going to wake us all up, and things will adjust. You know, when new things emerge, there's a massive rush, and people sort of like figure out what those mediums and platforms can be used for, what those technologies can be used for, and might go in a certain direction, but then there will be like a mass burnout and so much pain and misery and negative impacts, and then people will, the community is like a hive, will sort of adjust and use those platforms and technologies in different ways, until, just like I was describing before, as you will do for yourself, our hive will also always will find that place, where it's a balance. There is pain, there is negativity, there is downsides, but there's equal, if not more, amounts of upside and health and purpose as well. So I hope you guys will forgive the lack of updates. Where I live, my internet is really slow, sadly, and I'm barely, well, actually my Netflix and my YouTube works quite well, but uploading is really slow. So, but I'm going to keep uploading, keep these videos going, and I get a lot of great emails from everyone. I'm really blessed, and I appreciate that a lot of what's going on this channel is connecting and resonating with people, and it's helping a lot of people. One of my longtime viewers, supporters, just recently, very cool guy, who has helped. He actually did a little intro for one of my videos a while back. I don't know if you guys spotted that, but he's a very cool guy, and suggested getting a new camera and mic set up here, which I'm gonna do. I promise all these things are gonna come. They're going to come. I'm not in any rush. I like things building and growing organically. What goes up quickly comes down just as quick, and what grows slowly, I believe, lasts for much longer. So once I do have a camera set up and a better mic and lighting, then I can also do videos at night, which will help a lot, because that's when I have more time, and actually a lot of ideas and thoughts come as well in those moments. So I hope this helps, and to those of you who are continuing to support me on Patreon, I really just cannot express to you how humbling and grateful I am for that. It's just incredible, really. I appreciate it. I'll put a link down there in case anybody else would like to support me, because it does really help. And just anyone who's out there watching, sharing, and I don't like to say like, subscribe, all of that kind of stuff. I like things to just happen naturally. But those of you who have been doing that, thank you so much for sharing. I hope that these videos are making a positive influence in this existence that we're all in this hive. And please share, not my videos. I mean, please share your thoughts. If you are inspired by myself or anyone else or anything, share that inspiration with people. Share that motivation. Share that energy. Do something kind. Smile. Because sure, maybe 5 people out of 10 might not reciprocate, like the person earlier today I was talking about. But even if it's just 2 people out of 10 that do get influenced and inspired by your smile or by your great actions, and then pass that on, that's enough for things to just spread, and we can really just take over this world with kindness and intelligence, really, because that's what it is at the end of the day. It's intelligent, it's smarter. We all want to enjoy our life. We don't want to fight and make each other miserable. you know, because it's we want to have a better time. And if you look throughout history, our life is significantly improving. Even though we might think, oh, the world is such a hard place, people suck and this and that, but I guarantee you, compared to 100 years ago, it's so much better. 100 years ago, people were raping, murdering, kidnapping. You know, there were diseases. It was horrible. You would not want to be living 100 years ago. We're living in the most amazing, beautiful time uh, you know, just to be a human being, you know, and it's getting better and better. And yes, we have our expectations are what is driving us forward, but we also want to remember gratitude as well. Otherwise, we're going to be miserable, right? And there's no point to just be miserable. So share the love with people. Um, but don't be stupid. Don't you know, just share into black holes, because there are people out there who are black holes, and sometimes I'm not saying ignore them, but cast your light where it can be magnified more. Okay. All right, everyone. So adios for now, and yes, if anybody is interested in if anybody is out there going through real difficulty and feels like they would benefit from a session, I'll put my information down there below so you can get in touch with me. And thanks again. Adios for now.